Hello everyone, welcome back to Code and Math with Ramanand. Today we are going to learn something that saves time, saves code, and saves our brain. That is loops in Java. Let's make your code smarter. So, what are loops? Imagine your mom tells you, "Beta, bring water for me," again and again, and again and again. Instead of repeating the same line 10 times, she can set a loop in your brain. In programming also we want to repeat something multiple times, so we introduce the loops that do the jobs in the repetitive way. So we can say that loops are the fundamental programming construct that allows us to execute a block of code repeatedly, and they are also essential for automating the task and processing the data efficiently. Okay, right? So if you want to print from 1 to 100, then we can use the loop. If we print without loop, then it will take a lot of time, a lot of lines of code. So that's boring. So instead of that, we can use loop, which can print the number 1 to 100. So in this, we can say that we can set once, and that will repeat automatically as much as you want. Okay. So how many types of loops are there in Java? So we can say that there are mainly three types of loops, that is for loop, while loop, and do while loop. Plus we can also say that that is a multi-level repetition loop, uh, to which we can say that nested loop, which is mostly used for patterns. So if we talk about the for loops, then at first, when you already know how many times the task should be repeated, then we use the for loop. As we can know that, like counting 1 to 5, you already know the start and the end of the number. So in that place, you can use the for loop. And when talking about the syntax, then we can see that we will write the for this keyword, then we will initialize it, then give the condition, then the increment, that how much to increment it, then we will write the code what we want to do with that repetition. Like we can see an example, int I is equal to 1 means I is initialized to 1, and it will go up to less than equal to 5. Okay, and what will be the increment value, means what will the increment manner, then it will be I plus plus, means every time I will be increased by 1. And we are here we wrote the execution part, that what we have to do in that loop. So the loop is printing the I, means this changing number is being printed on the screen. So if we talk about the explanation, then at the start I was 1, and again it is checking the condition and getting executed and also getting increment parallelly. So the output for this program will be 1 2 3 4 5. Okay, when it will reach 5, then it will print 5, and after that it will, due to I plus plus plus, it will increment by 1, so it will become 6. Then when it will come here, then it will match that whether it meets the condition. So here the condition is false because I was up to the 5 only. So at the value of 6, it will end the loop, right? So now moving to the next loop, that is while loop. When you don't know how many times the loop will repeat, so at that time while loop is the perfect for that. So if we talk about the practical example, then as long as the internet is on, YouTube continues playing. Condition true means keep going. If condition false, then stop there only. So the syntax for this while loop is, we will first write the keyword while, then in the within the braces we will write the condition, that at what condition it will stop. Okay, and we'll write the execution of the code, that what we want to do. So if we talk about the example, then first we initialized I is equal to 1, and we wrote the while keyword, then we gave the condition like when it is less than equal to 5, then only this loop will run. and next we wrote the working of the loop, that is printing here the I value, and again we are just incrementing it. Okay, because if you not increment, then it will not go at any end, because it will always check whether the I is less than equal to 5 or not. If it is less than 5, then it will surely run. So that's why we need to increment it mandatorily. So you can also keep in mind that you must manually update the counter inside a loop. Means this counter should be updated, increased, and if the condition is meeting this, then you may also decrease it. Means something should be done to change the value or state of this I, then only it will goes to an end, else it will uh, be in a repetitive manner and it will go to infinite. So keep this in mind to increase the this counter. Okay, right. So now moving to the next loop, that is do while loop. This is one different. It runs at least once, even if the condition is false. As you can see in the syntax, that do is written first, means this code will be executed at any cost, whether the condition is getting meet or not. As we can see that do is here, and after executing this it will go to while, then it is checking the condition. So it is definitely going to run at least once, then only it will check for the condition, and if again meets the condition, then it will go on, else it will come or it will terminate the loop. So in the example we can see that int I is equal to 1 and do is done here, means definitely it is going to print I, and again it is increased by 1, and after that it is checking the condition that either I is less than equal to 5. So if I is less than equal to 5, then again it will go for the execution, and again it will check for the condition. In this manner the do while loop works. We can keep this in mind that code runs first, then the condition is checked, right? So moving to the next loop, that is nested loop. A loop inside another loop, that is not a different type of loops, but this loop is like a loop inside the another loop. If we talk about the practical example, then think of a school timetable. Everywhere rows is equal to days, column is equal to subject, means two loops working together. So we can you create those scenario, or we can create those table through the loops only. If you want to print the multi-dimensional task. In nested loops, we talks about the loops for multi-dimensional tasks, like printing a 3 by 3 grid, as I talked about the rows and column of the timetable. So if we talk about the syntax or the example of this nested loop, you can see here this is for loop, this is one for loop, and inside that again one for loop is starting. Okay, so if we talk about this its execution, then at one first time this I equal to 1 will work for the whole loop, and inside that I equal to 1 is also there, and again j is equal to 1 is there. So we can say that this will work for 3 times, and for those 3 times each j will work. Means 3 into 3, 9 times this loop is going to execute, and 3 by 3 matrix grid will be printed, like you can see here in the output. For the first I it is printing 1 to 3, and for the second I it is printing 1 to 3, and for third I it is printing 1 to 3. So in this way we can create a 3 by 3 grid or n by n grid using this nested loops. Okay, so you can, if you talk about the use case, then it is perfect for tables, grids, and the matrix operation, right? So there are so many loops control statement, like sometimes we want to interrupt the loop, for what we have to break and continue. Okay, so let's talk about that. In break statement, what it does, it stops the loop completely and exits immediately. Okay, we can see your example. And if you talk about the continue, then it skips the current iteration and moves to the next iteration, right? As we can see here that when we use the break, means when I will get equal to 3, then it will break the statement, means further execution is not going to take place in this loop, right? So output will be 1 and 2, because when it comes to 3, then only it broken, so it is not going to execute further. So in this way their output is only 1 and 2. And if you talk about the continue, then it is used for only skipping the current iteration. Okay, so when it reaches to the 3, then it will continue, means only I equal to 3 will not work, rest everything will work. Like, as you can see here, 1 is printed, 2 is printed. When it comes to 3, then it is skipped. Okay, it is skipped. And again I equal to 4 printed and I equal to 5 printed. So this was the two statement which is mostly used in the loop to break and to continue the iteration of the loop. Means if we talk about the analogy, then we can say that break is to leave the cinema hall in the mid movie, and when we comes to the continue, then it is like skipping the boring scene but still watching the movie. Okay, so in real world example, we can say that printing even number without loop is boring and with loop is magic. So here we can see that if you want to print the even number from 1 to 20, then we have two options, as we see, with loops and without loops. If we talk about the without loops, then we need to print it directly, like 2 4 6, means 20 lines of code will be there. Okay, so when we want to print this one, then we are smart, we can use the loop, and inside loop we will check the condition, that what are the condition of the even number to be printed. So it will print, say here this is the code of only 4 line, and here this code will be of up to 20 lines also. So just for 4 lines instead of 20, means loops make code cleaner as well as efficient. Okay, so this was all about the loops, like for loop, when to use, and while loop, when to use, do while loop, nested loop. So these are the summary you can go through. And if we talk about the today what we learned today, so we can say that loops help write smart, condensed, and code. And to means loop is one of the key concept, we can say, to learn the coding. Okay, so this was the key takeaways, right? So thank you for watching my video, and if you really enjoyed this session, then kindly like, share, and subscribe, and also comment if you have learned something new. So in the next video, we will talk about the arrays in Java, right? So keep learning, keep coding. So thank you.